breaking news coming in. Let's just put it out there for our viewers. Big update coming in on this story at this hour. After the Supreme Court heard the plea against the arrest, it has now ordered immediate release of freelance journalists. Now, that's the update coming in. Immediate release for journalist Kanojia. Mr. Kantawala, please continue. You were telling us how this smacks of vindictiveness, and it has got nothing to do with following due process of law. Rather, it's misuse of power is what you were telling us.
Absolutely, and that is why the highest court of the land has ordered an immediate release forthwith of Kanojia. Why would the apex court taken it upon itself and passed this order with immediate effect? Only if it was shocked. When a conscience of the court is shocked, the court will immediately step in. The court will be vigilant to the rights which have been violated of citizens. And I hope that at some stage the Supreme Court decides and lays down guidelines for such unfortunate events not to happen in future.
All right. So that's an important point. I want to ask you about the point that you made about how this is gross police excess, is what you said. Now, that's again an extremely disturbing aspect, because what you're essentially saying, and what is perhaps pretty evident, is that police is acting at the behest of the ruling government. Of course, this is not the first case. But, can we prevent such cases in future if at least the police does on its part due diligence?
I remember Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer's prophetic words when he began the landmark judgment, and he was a writer of very prolific judgments. He wrote this catchline, "Who will police the police?"
Yes.
And that is so absolutely correct in this case. In fact, yesterday in Bombay High Court issued notice of contempt to the jailer of Taloja jail for flouting the High Court's orders. So here we have cases where police are brazenly not following constitutional safeguards, their police manual, and on the other hand, even going to the extent of flouting court orders.
Yes.
So this is an extremely dangerous trend. I think this requires very, very serious debate. And it is a collective problem that we are facing. If we don't tackle it at this stage, and like-minded people don't come together, and popular media channels like you don't expose these kind of excesses, God help us.
Yes, because, Mr. Kandawala, like you rightly said, this has been normalized. It's become a pattern, isn't it? The fact that it's almost as if the police is expected to act at the behest of the ruling government. And you are telling us now that no, there are police manuals, there are constitutional safeguards. The police has to act independently, do its own corroboration and confirmation, not just go about making these arrests at the behest or at the beck and call of their political masters.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes.
The Honorable Supreme Court has laid down in the famous judgment of Lalita Kumari, which was actually ordered to be circulated to each police station and each secretariat all over India.
Yes.
Now, Supreme Court said circulate our judgment to everyone. Actually, people should know what the Supreme Court judgment is, but here Supreme Court said since we have laid down guidelines on how to act in cases, in cognizable cases, what is to be done. In non-cognizable cases, what is to be done. In heinous offences, what is to be done. You straight away can't go and arrest.
Absolutely.
For example, a woman files a case against in-laws. In-laws are staying miles away. They are arrested immediately. Supreme Court immediately stepped in. But the difficulty is this. Can everyone approach the courts today immediately? Can everyone have lawyers at their behest who will appear for them even in the midnight? And that is the difficulty. We need this to be a very serious debate.
Absolutely.
And we need to stop this here.
Yes, and I take your point when you say that here is a journalist and the entire media is probably rallying behind him. What happens to the common man if such arrests are allowed to happen? Meenakshi Bhanja is with us. Meenakshi, first of all, if you can take us through the latest updates. I believe the Supreme Court has worded it very carefully, also putting in a word of caution that the release order is not in any way endorsement of the tweets.
Well, Afrida, we have seen in the past as well. For instance, of course, in a disparate case, that time it was the Priyanka Sharma and Mamta Banerjee matter. Audience will recall that time also the Supreme Court had intervened and ordered for the release of this particular girl for posting this objectionable mock picture of West Bengal Chief Minister. Interestingly, in that case also, the Supreme Court had asked for the said girl to apologize for the nature of her posts. This time around also, the Supreme Court has clearly depreciated the journalist for posting and sharing objectionable statements and posts on social media. And alongside, the top court has also said that the state can go ahead with probe against him and conduct a trial process if need be. But that apart, the Supreme Court is of the opinion that he has to be released immediately on bail.
Yes, and Meenakshi, also the fact that here was an arrest that is made, what experts tell us, and Mr. Sujay Kandawala is still with us, they believe that cases where arrests are made, where custody is taken, are supposed to be heinous, they're supposed to be cognizable offences. In this case, has there been discrepancies in the procedure, in the process of the arrest?
Well, yes, Afrida, the very fact that an arrest has been made is something which is excessive in nature. And this has also happened. He's been put behind bars for an allegedly objectionable tweet against Chief Minister. Now, remember what has happened here. The Chief Minister himself has not filed any defamation case like we have seen in the past, the politicians do. The Chief Minister has not sought redressal for the offence of what he is terming as defamation. There has not been a judicial assessment whether indeed the tweet is defamatory or not. The police has acted on its own. The police has brought it to be. Yes, Afrika, that's it.
Right. So in that sense, there could be some merit in the argument that this is a police excess. Of course, the Supreme Court has now ordered immediate release and also said that that does not amount to an endorsement of the tweets posted in the first place. Thanks, Meenakshi and Mr. Kandawala, for joining us.